Hey, Bat Family, welcome back. We are very excited for this one. You're going to hear some tired people and rough voices because this is the end of the weekend convention, and I have net positive 8 hours of sleep across multiple days because that's what you do at a convention. Scott, you are aggressively the most tired, other than me, I think.
I mean, life has been lifing, so I'm at about 10 hours of sleep.
Heck yeah.
But other than that, I'm doing quite grand.
Yeah, I think I've covered 8.5 hours in the last couple of days because of Friday's 5:30 bedtime. That was great.
That's true. But in all fairness, that's about what you get across 2 days normally anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know how you survive. Meanwhile, by far the most rested of us is our guest for this episode. We are very excited to have on the president, owner, chief everything officer from Grand Gamers Guild, Marc. How are you doing? That's right, there's two of us.
I'm great. I am a fantastic baby, and I need my sleep. And so I exited the convention last night when my wife texted me that she wanted to talk, and it was right about when I was going to hit my wall. So went to my hotel, slept 7 to 8 hours, woke up and worked this morning for a couple hours, and now I'm here.
We're walking up to the door, and he goes, "So what time did you guys end?" I'm like, "Well, they were still going. I got home about 2. He's like, "I was asleep for 4 hours by that point." I'm like, a little jealous.
Yeah.
So I learned a long time ago that I don't function well on no sleep. I don't even want to pretend to be happy at that point. And I don't want to be unpleasant. So, and I got to drive home today.
That's the big thing. Yeah. You have to drive home.
So,
big
got to be safe. I have fallen asleep behind the wheel. It's not fun.
No, it's not.
Coming home from Essen is rough. And my little lane monitor has saved my life when I was driving home from Canada one time. It actually beeped. And I smacked my passenger and said, "You got to stay awake with me." We almost just bit the bullet.
Oof.
Anyway.
Rough.
Glad you made it, though.
Me too.
Yeah, it would have sucked. And Kokeshi wouldn't have shown up here. And that would have been just...
But it would probably be the first time any of the Board Game Media news outlets actually mentioned me. So, so a little in memoriam segment, but whatever.
Hey, you're here.
I am here.
You are part of our Board Game Media.
Indeed.
I'm just thinking Sarah McLachlan singing "In the Arms of an Angel" now.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
See, when I'm tired, my brain just goes, tangent.
Do you have to be tired?
More than normal.
All right.
I was about to say, that just happens all the time.
I rein him in. I do rein him in somewhat.
All right. For our starter segment, Scott, what's been on your table?
Oh my gosh. Well, there were so many things. I mean, I got to play a couple games, of course, here at the con. But outside of the con, so very happy. Finally got to play some more Frosthaven. Got to close one of the storylines in there. Unlocked a character, finally. And actually, when we had gone to PAX, from Seth LaFair, I picked up their little holiday pack of cards that you could throw in. You could give it to everybody, and when you complete it, it's like they're harder goals. Mm-hmm. You can automatically unlock a building or automatically unlock a character. And when I brought it into the group, we were all like, if we complete these, we're going to unlock a building because we want to get the buildings done. And I was the first one of the three of us to actually complete the goal. I finally got it completed. It took me 8 plays.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of Frosthaven.
That's a lot of Frosthaven.
Yeah.
That's 2 months. Yeah. But
Very cool.
It was great. I was like, yes.
Very nice.
I got to throw down some Gwent with Maria and try that. That's the Witcher card game that they brought out and played. It's
Remind me,
short
that was
game.
Simon who did that?
Zeman, yeah. It's a cool game. They have several factions you can go ahead and go head-to-head with. So, nice short one, but a cool little kind of chess thinker in a card game. Got to throw down 4 Doors recently, and even though we ended up getting a very rough start and ended up getting our butts kicked, I could easily see that one coming down very easily for getting on the table for pretty much any table that I have. But the one that I really liked, and you guys talked about in a previous segment, and I didn't get to play yet, was Spectacular.
Such a good game.
Yeah, playing that yesterday, I was so thrilled.
Which one were you?
I did the Outlaw, which, funny enough,
The Undead Cowboy.
the cool strategy for that one is one of the entire sections of it is you want to get these tickets give you points.
Right.
He plays better if you don't go after the tickets and you essentially have as many of the meeples in your card as possible, because then you get to do a ton of different things on your turn.
Oh, nice.
So it was very cool keeping 4 out of the 5 on my board, so that every turn I essentially had like 8 actions that I got to go ahead and take, and it just garnered me more points every time.
Oh, that's great.
Very cool.
Mark,
My turn.
Your
already.
turn.
Sure. So I'll give you guys a bit of a scoop, since I know you are endangered enthusiasts. So every month I get together with my developer, take my little team, we drive to Lansing, meet him sort of halfway, so to speak. And one of the things we got to the table was a new endangered scenario. It was submitted a long time ago by Artemis Project co-designer Daniel Rocky, and he had put together a scenario for pangolins. So
that makes sense.
Oh my goodness.
those adorable little sort of armored creatures that remind you of a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Fun fact, pangolins are the most trafficked animal in the world.
Really?
And so one of the key mechanics, something that we've had on a card, but we've not had as a mechanism in the game, is poachers. So, or traffickers, actually, we'll be
Traffickers,
changing the name to.
Yeah.
So Daniel had implemented a mechanic for how traffickers move around the board, how they scoop up pangolins and then secret them away, removing them from the population. And it was good. It was better than good, actually. I am excited to have 2 days ago shot Daniel a contract with the subject line, something like, "I bet you weren't expecting this." And he wrote me back and he's like, "Yeah, I thought that was totally dead." Because, I mean, it's probably been 4 years. But, you know, I'm busy. Joe's busy. We did a thing with new species and then sort of came up with the continent box thing afterwards. And now we have a place to put pangolins. So that is underway.
Oh, that is exciting.
fantastic.
Okay, so 2 questions. First, Daniel Rocky did S'mores Galore, right?
Yes, yep. He is also the owner of Mighty Acorn Games and the designer of S'mores Galore.
We enjoy that game here. The second question, Continent Box.
Yeah, so we just, okay. So right now we have... Thanks so much. We have Endangered Australia on Pledge Manager, which will have the koalas and Great Barrier Reef. And what am I missing? I can think of bunyips, which is the, fantasy scenario we put in the box. And I can't remember the other one, so it'll come back to me. Isn't that ridiculous? So whatever, that's fine. But after that, Joe is putting work into both Asia and Africa.
On my table recently, we've had a bunch of things. We had plenty of stuff happen over the weekend. Got Iliad and Icor to the table again.
Yes, we
Finally
did.
had you play it.
Yep.
Iliad, he sat there afterwards, like, I am sweating. Like, that is tense. Like, so we played Icar, and Icar's good, but I think it finally hit for me that Icar is not going to survive the collection because Iliad is just better, and I have really excellent 2-player games in my collection. That said, Icar is really, really good. I just don't have anybody that hits on it the way they do with it.
Right.
Yeah.
We also finally played Neotopia. I'm excited to try that with more people because at 2 it was good, not great.
Yeah.
But
agreed.
I can see where those designers took lessons from their other games and put them in, so I really want to see it at a higher player count. And then I finally got Blue Lagoon played by Rainer Knizia. We went over to Victory Roll last week whenever they were doing like the first quarter birthdays, and I looked at Lisa, I'm like, we're playing this. And if you have played Through the Desert, you'll like Blue Lagoon. They are similar games without being the same thing. It's pure Knizia in that way. Really a great game, though. Super fun. It has that we are going to control the board and we're going to make paths and try to cut each other off. And then as soon as a certain condition is met, the game comes to a halt. Everything scores. You wipe the board kind of like you do in Brass, and then you start again from your permanent positions that you've established in the first half.
Oh, okay.
It's a very neat game, and it can be mean, but the meanness is, I'm just cutting you off from here.
Yeah, you're not actually outright attacking a person.
But it's very interesting. I very much like that. So, yeah, March has been good for gaming, so I've been very happy with everything we've played. We have the joy of having Marc on the show with us, and Grand Gamers Guild, for as much as you guys have under your banner, and you have a significant amount of games, is still one of the smaller publishers.
I am. I consider myself the biggest of the small publishers. I have no supporting documentation for that fact, though.
The conversations you and I have had just through emails and the stuff over this weekend, there are so many little holes and little gaps and little details that, as even being attached to you in content creation space, like the average person just won't catch. And we've heard some details of this from larger scale of, we're able to handle this, but this has happened. But we thought, let's talk to you about what are the details of being one of the smaller guys.
Sure.
What does that look like? What would you want people to know about publishing? And this is why the decisions are made.
Sure.
Let's start here, because I think one of the intriguing parts about how you operate your business is you're probably, 50% your own games and 50% licensing.
Yeah, actually, and I didn't intend to start out that way. I did, I will say, intend to be very much like Stronghold or Z-Man, where they had a very wide catalog with different types of games. And then as I watched, and I know Steven's out of the publishing part of the industry now, but I watched how he developed his
You're
company.
Stephen Bonacore.
Stephen Bonacore, yep. It started out with fully homegrown catalog, and then he moved very significantly into localizations. And he would talk about every year how he'd come back from Essen, and they'd have this big game extravaganza where they assessed all the titles that came out of Essen, and then reached out to the publishers they wanted to partner with for the coming year. I actually never envisioned myself as having that be a significant part of my catalog, but because, life and pandemics and taxes and cash flow, and quite frankly, good games that I just wouldn't have found on my own and don't have the pipeline for even if I did, it suddenly started to make sense. And that's actually why, and we've alluded to this, but two of my newest releases, my new releases for 2026 are actually both localizations, while there are other things in development and brewing on the back burners.
When you said you're finding games that you wouldn't otherwise have seen, is that because you have people coming to you? Are you seeing them? I know you go to Essen and stuff like that. Or how many of your stable of people that you know, of the designers you work with, do they say, like, yeah, I think this would be a good idea? I
definitely get a lot of recommendations. I definitely field, goodness, at least 2, how do I submit to your company, or here's my design, every week. And right now my submissions are actually officially closed through late 2027. It's taken me, yeah, I know. Let's sidestep here. I have sort of a collector's mentality, and it's something I fight against. When I used to collect comic books, I wanted all the comic books, more than I could possibly read.
Right.
When I bought books, which I don't do anymore, thank goodness for a public library, I bought more books than I could possibly read. And then when I got divorced and had, moved half a dozen times, I said, I really don't want to carry these anymore, literally, from the house to the moving van. So I got rid of them all. So now I'm trying to drive towards minimalism. But in the business process, I see a design, and there are a lot of designs that scream at me, I need to be published. And the other side of that coin is, I don't want to see someone else publish this, because I see the product, I see the game, I see the potential to make money and keep my company going.
Yeah.
And so, I've come upon a lot of those early in this first 10 years. And that's what has led to me issuing contracts and my queue being way far ahead of what I can handle. And I'm still in process with this, trying to get better and better and better, because I still remain, at least from an employee perspective, I'm a one-man show. I have a lot of very talented contractors, but I sweep the checks and I sign the floors, as I like to say. So my queue is all the way out until 2027, and I've reestablished this fact with my team in saying that, hey, we're booked until then, but my vision for 2027 is that starting with Origins, actually maybe even Geekway, and Origins, and Gen Con, and Essen, and PAX Unplugged, I get all the solicitations. And then post-PAX Unplugged, late December, early January, February, I have a giant local game day. I actually look at the play times so that I set up tables with games of like duration. Everyone can swap around, and by the end of the day, everyone's played everything. Mm-hmm. And then I can source the collective wisdom of all the people that I love and trust. And they'll say, that's the one you should publish. Because I'm the biggest believer in that. I don't know my own blind spots. And there's things that I have published that, or at least considered for publication, that I wouldn't have considered because of the recommendation of a trusted friend. And, other things that I've wanted to publish, and people have said, don't do that. This game is like it, or this is not a Grand Gamers Guild game, or they found a flaw that I didn't see. One of the questions we always ask is this fundamentally flawed in a way that the designer, him or herself, has not recognized.
Sure.
And it happens.
When we were playing Garinto yesterday, you had made a comment about the development process of so it was Garinto, right? The runaway leader stuff that was possible there, and, and all the little tweaks that came in. And you sat off and watched us play. And I have seen designers do that, I've seen publishers do that. And I think you were having more fun watching our brains interact with the product than you would have actually been playing with us.
Well, yeah, first of all, you guys played partnership mode, which I think is absolutely my favorite way to play Garinto. I think it turns an excellent heads-down abstract game into a very social experience. And you guys proved it. I watched you play, and you did exactly what I expect you to do. Give me that, not that. These are my goals. Help me set you up, blah, 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 all those things. And I just love Garinto. People ask me, someone asked me, I think it was maybe Austin asked me, what's the favorite of your titles? And it's hard to choose from among my children. But the thing I love about Garinto is the ability to take people from complete ignorance, they've never heard of the product, to I can teach that to someone else in 5 minutes. Garinto's 5 years old. We know that's ancient history in board game world. When I'm at a convention, I always put Garinto on the corner of my booth. Visually, it brings people by. They go, what is that? And I say, you want to play? And I say to them, I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you why. And in 5 minutes, you're going to know exactly how to play the game. And I gave you guys more of an explanation because I wanted you to have a good competitive game. But in terms of picking up that game,
and it was.
Yeah, it really was. It was awesome. But in terms of the convention presence, I get people from 0 to 60 in 5 minutes, and half of them walk away buying it. And the half that walk away, half of those come back on Sunday and say, can I buy Garinto? And I say, I'm sold out.
Yeah.
And the thing that I've realized, which I'm going to answer a question you didn't ask, is that as much as I love the cover of Garinto, it is very obvious.
I was going to bring this up, actually.
That's
not the game the cover implies it to be.
That cover does not make people pick it up, which makes me sad, but that's okay. So we're going to be reskinning it. And I guess here's another scoop for you. We talked about this last night, but I guess I'll make it public. Our next Kickstarter project, which is on a timeline, is going to be Q2 this year, which is going to be for 3 Japanese abstract games, Saikatsu, Garinto, Kokeshi, and we'll be reskinning Garinto with what I think is a much more attractive cover. I'm convinced it'll do fine on Kickstarter. When I'm at a convention, when I have people at my booth playing Garinto, people will walk by and they'll shout out, apropos of nothing, just buy that game to the people who are doing a demo because, they're like, I bought that last year. It's fantastic, blah, blah, blah.
Now, I've noticed, looking at your catalog of games, and I guess it's that you talk about, having the collector mentality. Is that why you have such a wide plethora of, different genres and themes? Because, yes, you do have Endangered, and you have the Holiday Hijinks games.
Inferno and Endangered are under the same ban.
Right.
Right. No, so, okay, the reason why I have such a crazy wide breadth of titles is because I get super bored easily. And I can't play the same thing over and over, which means I don't want to play test the same thing over and over. And I give kudos to a company, I'll just use Simon as an example, that, they know their audience and they're always gonna, wherever they're at today, let's set that aside. But they're always going to have almost unconditionally a 1 million+ campaign because they know their target audience.
Yeah.
I don't have a target audience. I was actually talking with a marketing person the other day. They asked me the question, what's your target audience? And I said, I have no idea. And I gave them the boredom explanation. Leading to the collector mentality, though, I will give you some inside baseball, which is when we did the original Holiday Hijinks, the Kringle Caper, I've told the story before, I'll tell it again. Jonathan challenges himself every year to make a small, accessible game that he sends to friends and family. And when I got wind that the Kringle Caper was going to be a thing, I said to him, Jonathan, we need to publish this. And he agreed. He said, okay, let's do that. Let's do that. And then I asked him, can you do it again? And I asked me to do it again. And now we're up at 14 titles published, 2 more that'll be released at Origins, the Mutiny Mayhem and the Pride Pursuit. There, I guess that's almost your third scoop.
Yeah.
And they are very fun. I got to play test both of them.
I got to do the
them.
Pride. That was great.
So, well, that one, just say it out loud. Mutiny Mayhem is designed by Jonathan. Pride Pursuit's designed by Danielle Reynolds. I'm very excited to have both those titles releasing at Origins. Anyway, the collector mentality. As we got to do more of them, I realized that we needed to number them because numbering is something collectors want. Yes. When they see a number on a thing and realize it's part of a series, they need to have them all. And I know that because I am a victim of that.
Same.
And now I'm a perpetrator. Yeah, so that's why the Holiday Hijinks have numbers. It not only helps me keep them straight, but it
drives engagement.
It facilitates the purchasing process.
Wait a second, this is the 13th?
Yeah, and
There's more of these?
And in fact, I will tell you, and you may or may not be aware of this. So this has already been announced. This is not really a scoop, though it might be a scoop for your audience. We did the Holiday Hijinks Master Detective Collection, which we advertised as a collection of the first 12. There were 9 that had already been issued. 10, 11, and 12 are brand new. I priced it so that people who had a few, I would hope, would tip over and just buy the collection, knowing the entire time that we were going to have a 13th game hidden in the bottom of the box. If you haven't plucked out the insert of your Holiday Hijinks Master Detective Collection, surprise! And because I like to think I'm cheeky and clever, the 13th one is the Friday Fright for Friday the 13th. So, ta-da. Anyway, I don't know how I got all down that road, but collector mentality.
Yeah, I love going by your booth at Gen Con because you don't know what you're going to find because there's just so many different things. I'm glad you're here because it's one of those like, how does his brain work? How does he figure out what titles he wants? Because you do have Words of a Feather, you have Garinto, you have the Holiday Hijinks, and it's like
Pillars of Heracles.
Pillars of Heracles. Yeah, how do you connect the strings?
Right. Well, the other thing is that from the beginning wanted people to put their money into a company, not a product. I don't for a second think they're putting it into me as a person. I'm not that congenial. I go to sleep at 9 p.m. I mean,
God, I wish.
I'm nice enough. I'm not marketing the Marc brand. No one's following me because, I'm some sort of a charismatic personality. But what I do want them to do is come to Grand Gamers Guild because they know that the testing and quality has been put into the product.
Yeah.
So that's why I put the breadth of product. Now, in terms of what I choose, that is purely a decision based on arrogance. It is my sensibility that drives the equation. I will say that, with respect to Endangered, I implicitly trust Joe to vet the scenarios and get them where they need to go. In terms of Holiday Hijinks, Jonathan, I've said this before, I don't even play them before they're published. I trust Jonathan so much to do it right that I want to play the finished game. Yes. So I let him do his thing, and then I play them after the fact.
Really cool.
So anyway, yeah, that's trust.
One of the things that we try and foster on this is the idea of we want to be friends of the industry. So this question is not meant to be a knife in any way.
All right, I'm going to steel myself up for this.
But it's a question I want to ask you because when we have talked about games you've licensed and brought over, when you look at something like Kokeshi, you have had development with this localized product.
That is true.
When you look at something like Belgian Beers Race, the dice game, which we infamously kind of tore apart.
Yep.
You had said that you had just signed it and brought it over wholesale.
Right, that is true.
So what other than just time availability is going to get you to look at something and be like, you know what, I want this game, but I want to take the extra time with it versus I'm just going to do this and hope for the best?
Right, so, okay, let's talk about Belgian Beers Race, which has a notoriously challenging rule book. I think if you can penetrate the rule book, there is actually a good game there. And I will say this, so with respect to that process, I misspoke. I actually did edit the rule book, but had so many of my own problems with it that I couldn't get it where I needed to go and handed it off, and they made all my changes, but clearly those changes were not enough. Blame is on my shoulders. I did Belgian Beers Race dice because I did Belgian Beers Race, which I did because I love beer and I love Belgium.
Yes.
Which is all you need.
Right?
I like that, and I agree.
Funny thing is, when I lived in Belgium 20 years ago, I lived there for 4.5 months, I was neither a beer fan nor was I a gamer.
Really?
Which is really sad because I would have been there at the time when Essen was going on, and of course, Belgium is the land of beer. Anyway,
Trappist
whatever.
And everything over there.
So when I found out the Belgian Beers Race, the original game existed, I really just reached out and said, I would love to help you get this into the US. And then when they made the dice game, they reached out to me and said, do you want to do this? And I felt a loyalty that I wanted to bring it up to speed, said yes. Didn't realize what I was getting into. And like I said, I think there's a good game there if you could penetrate it. I think in the spectrum of roll and writes, it does something very different from what other roll and writes do.
It does.
Now let's fast forward to Kokeshi. Kokeshi, I just had more time with. The company Ludofun from Brazil is our partner on Endeavor Deep Sea. And they reached out to us and said, we have this stack of games. You guys are looking for localizations. Let me send them to you. So I said, sure, no problem. Having no idea what I was getting into. They sent about half a dozen games, and I played through every one of them, except for one, which I couldn't because there was no English rule book. And when I did it, again, looking at my pipeline and my own ability to produce, Kokeshi was the far and away winner. It was just like Garinto. When I played the game within 3 minutes of the description and engaging it, I was salivating, so to speak, in publisher terms. And I just, said, let's make this a thing. Then I really took my time. I'm in a very different place today than I was with the Belgian Beers Race dice. And even, even before that, I'm better at everything. And I'm fairly good at rule books and, really took my time to reorganize the rule book and tighten up a lot of things. Because they had an English rule book, but it wasn't as good as a native English speaker. And did such a number on it that they actually came to me and asked if they could use my rule book for their future publications.
Nice.
And I said, have at it. So clearly I have a little bit of talent in that area that I hope to continue to hone because I think it's important. If a rulebook is awful, that's a non-starter for me. I won't take the time. There's too many good games and great games with great rulebooks that I'm willing to engage.
Sure.
Yep.
So my last question, just to keep the conversation flowing, because I think reasonably we could have this be the entire episode,
Yeah.
is you look at the breadth of publishing locales that you come from. Like you said, Ludofun is from Brazil. You have Red Mojo that's in Spain. There's a variety of other things that my very tired brain is not pulling up. What is your search pattern for where in the world you're going to be attracting licensed possible games from?
Sure. So if I can ascribe the word leader to myself as opposed to manager, I am the leader who is in the trenches with my team. And part of that is a function of the choices I've made to stay a very small publisher. So when I'm at a convention, I'm in my booth from pre-opening to post-closing. And I've been very lucky that the partners I've worked with have been willing to leave their booth and come and meet with me at my booth. And so very often it will be a situation where I step away for 10 minutes and we have a conversation about their titles. And I say, I'm interested in this and that and the other. And then they either have them on hand or they bring them back over and hand them to me. And then I punch them out and I nest the games and I shove them in my suitcase and I bring them home. And that is pretty much my process. And then I bring them back, and over the course of a couple weeks, I play them. And that also means that there's hundreds of publishers that I'm not meeting, but that's okay because I don't have the bandwidth for any more than what I do. Came home with Essen from with about, 9 titles, let's say. And then I go through them with my team. We talk about, is it fundamentally broken? Is it a Grand Gamers Guild game? Is this a product that I can sell? Because there are many great games that I don't have the capacity to sell. No one's going to come to me for them. And if I have them, someone else could do it better. So I'll give you, just to go back, no one expected me to publish an escape room game, much less an 18-card escape room game back in 2020. But I knew that if we could do it again, every time we came out with a new one, we would see a surge in the old one. So I had a long-term vision for that once we did the thing. Most games don't come out in a series, though, so you don't have that snowball effect. So anyway, that's my process. I have a number of people who will come to me just because we've engaged before. Others reach out like they're casting just a hugely wide net. And they see that I'm one of the many, many small companies that hasn't yet toppled over. I've been doing this for 10 years. Tenure means something. There are a lot of giants that are not in the industry anymore for many and varied reasons. One of the saddest tales is Tasty Minstrel Games. I loved everything they did. I can't say exactly what happened, but they're no longer here. And at the beginning of my place in the board game industry, as just a consumer, I never would have seen a time when TMG was not around. Just Belfort is still absolutely one of my favorite games. It's
Grand Austria Hotel.
I haven't played it in far too long, but
early on, there's just so many games that people. I think they did Coliseum too.
Yeah.
Just one banger after another of them. Yeah.
To your question, I don't know how they got what they got, but when they got a title, boy, did they do a great job with it, and it was almost unconditionally fantastic.
So before we exit out of this, is there any last lingering, I would like people to know this from a publisher side?
That's a good question. Gosh, we've covered a lot of the majors. I don't know. This is probably something everybody knows. Just that even large board game companies are still small companies. Give people grace. For instance, I was away at Gamma Expo for 6 days or whatever, and also post-surgery, so I was already slow. And I had people who would email me every 2 days. And every time you email me, man, that thing just leaps down in the queue. It goes Gmail moves it up.
If you follow your autoresponder, it says, don't continually email me, I will get back to you. And you do get back within the time frame you say.
Yeah, to my discredit, I think I had my longest delay ever with Gamma Expo because it ended up being 6 days was where my thing was at. But at least it was within a week. And I'm usually good for 48 hours, even in the busiest of times. Anyway, yeah, just give people grace. Please don't ask publishers to send you empty boxes because there's a ding on the corner. Life is not a museum. Stuff is meant to be used. And carry on.
We are sponsored by our great friends over at Grand Gamers Guild. Located not terribly far away from us in Grand Rapids, Michigan, they're a publisher that specializes not only in bringing enjoyment across the complexity spectrum to your table, but making sure that international releases are also finding the ability to be played here in the US as well. On that, I am entirely thrilled to announce that Kokeshi has finally been made available here in the US. Adding in a brand new B-side to the player boards and the animal tracks, there's even more gameplay to be found in this version. The tiles all feel wonderful, and it's already been tabled a whole bunch of times since we got it in studio. You can pick up Kokeshi now at grandgamersguild.com. And keep in mind that in support of us, they're offering a referral code to kick back to board all the time. If you go to grandgamersguild.com and use discount code BATT10, that's BATT10, you'll make sure that we're supported and you let them know that we sent you. Thank you so much to Grand Gamers Guild. So this weekend, we did not manage to get a Why Did I Play That Game played with Mark. So here we are talking about a game that we did get to sit down and play and discuss. And it was Jason's turn to hit us this week. So Jason, go ahead and kick us off for Why Did I Play That?
Well, I think we got a little bit of everybody with this one. It is a nice dice/draw bag game from Lucky Duck. It is Quartz, the dice game. Essentially, everyone here is a dwarf trying to fight for the mining rights in the only mine in the entire mountain. Essentially, what you do for this game, every round is going to go ahead and be a team lead or a project leader. You'll be able to mine a crystal from a draw bag. So you randomly pull one of the 7 crystals. Then you get to roll the 5 dice Yahtzee style, and each one of the faces has a different action on it. One singular action choice would be like you are mining 1 crystal per die. After that, each one of the other actions takes at least 2 die to be able to go and perform of the same face, some of which are going to be like stealing crystals from other players. You might be able to transfer your crystals that you have mined from your cart over to your chest. Your chest essentially lets you keep them for the rest of the game so they cannot be stolen. Now what you do is you're going to be playing 6 rounds, and however many at the end of the game that you have, you'll go ahead and count up your overall monetary gain. Every time you go ahead and get 3, 4, or 5 of the same color crystal, you'll go ahead and get a extra bonus. And then the last 2 that you'll take a look at is whoever has the least amount in their chest will go ahead and have a little bit of a ding on their victory points. And then whoever has the unstable crystal, which is obsidian, will go ahead and have a reduction of 3 victory points per obsidian that they have. Now, obsidian is one of the 7 crystals you can pick up. There is 2 added every round to go ahead and give more variability to it and have a higher chance of pulling those. Now, obsidian is basically just bad stuff for you to go and pick up. If you do pick it out of the bag, you'll be able to get a re-roll token, which is kind of neat. It essentially lets you roll anywhere up to all 5 of your dice, even on your second and third dice roll, to be able to use them. And then at the end of the game, whoever has any obsidian will go ahead and take a reduction in their overall haul for the day. This game is functional, I will say. There is some cool little pieces for it. There is some beautiful crystals that are built in. You have reroll tokens, which are nice and clear. Chests, which are nice and clear. The first player marker is very easy to go ahead and tell. And the dice have very clear instructions on each side of basically what each item is going to be on those. It will pertain to the player aid / instruction booklet here to go ahead and give you a better idea of what each of those mean. At first time, you normally have the hang of it pretty easily. It was an interesting game to go ahead and play. It only took about 20 minutes for us.
Yep.
We all relatively enjoyed at least the components for it because they are simple and easy to use. But at least 2 of us are A, awful at dice luck, and B, really dislike bag pull games.
Truth.
So
I have my exceptions, certainly, but that holds.
Let's drop it to Scott right now to see how you feel about this one, because I think I have an idea of how Mark does.
So since I'm the one with the better dice luck and the better bag pull luck, it made sense that I was the one that was targeted more. I mean, and I still wasn't like hurt, but like obsidian crystals were passed to me. I got stuff stolen from. I tried to do as much as I could. My dice luck wasn't quite as good as it normally is, but it wasn't hurt.
This wasn't Moon Rollers again, where...
No, it wasn't Moon Rollers, and it wasn't like where you also had a turn like where you basically got hosed.
Yeah, I had a couple turns that did nothing.
Yeah, it's passable. Would I play it again? Yeah, I'd play it again because, you know, it's easy enough to take up that much time. I have some concerns with it, which I think we all have concerns with it, which we'll get to, or we'll just let Mark do it. Mark complains about these things better than we do. When it's the certain things, and those are going to be on the list, and I completely agree with you, you do them better than I do.
I feel like I should be offended by that, but I don't think I am.
No, honestly, I think it's a badge of honor at this point.
Yeah.
It might be one of your most noteworthy aspects of this podcast.
I know how to constructively critique things.
Yes, you really do.
Yes, that is one of the pros for sure.
Yeah, it's a fine game. It's a low table for me. I don't want to own it, but he's already making a face.
I'm just listening.
Yeah, I know, but you're making a face. I will state that what Mark is going to complain about, I completely agree on. I'm sorry, what Mark is going to critique on, I completely agree on. And I will go ahead and pass the critiquing button to you, sir.
So let's start here, and that is the history of the game. Because Quartz is a game that came out in 2015, and it's had multiple different versions come out. The dice game came out in 2022, but I think Lucky Duck got it within the last year or two. That's why it kind of re-emerged. But
2 years.
we've talked about it before. I don't care about dwarves. If we're playing fantasy stuff, great. They're minors. They're the same trope over and over. I don't really enjoy dwarf-based things. That said, Quartz, the original game, and it looks like this is a decent distillation of that. I have not played either version before this one, but there is a re-implementation of Quartz, which was Friday the 13th. And I actually think if you swap that theme onto this, I would actually enjoy it more. Because now you're trying to survive. Instead of the city in there, you would be attacked by Jason. Like, there's some neat things that isn't just this Jason attacking me. So I think if you swap the theme on this, I could be more engaged with it. I'm already lost on the theme. Does this make me want to go back and try the original? Frankly, not really.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
Because I feel that when there's a game that has a parallel to a previous, so it's like, hey, here's this version of that game. It's because it wants to tie you back to the original. And the fact that I also agree with you that I don't want to go back to the original.
Yeah.
I have no desire, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't. When we're looking at the components, like Jason said, things are mostly fine here. The crystals are pretty-ish, and I say ish because I have one particular complaint, and that's that there is this like orangey red and then this maroony pink. And the color selection here is awful. We literally went through the entire game and a couple different times like, I'm not sure there's any red in this bag. There was one and we just never pulled it. And I understand that that's going to be modulated by player count. Great. I don't think player count is going to help this in any means. You're missing a score pad. You're missing player aids. Thankfully, at least the back of the rulebook has a player aid, but the player aid itself isn't complete. And the player aid that is given to you, which again, thankfully it exists, is only for end-of-game scoring, and the font isn't clear enough where even you looked at it, Jason, and were like, oh crap, I lose more points than I thought I did.
Yep.
Because the font isn't clear. So production is a bit of a mess. The actual gameplay turn-to-turn, it's fine, but the biggest sin a board game can have in my eyes is I don't care what happens on your turn. And out of all the games that we've played, that's only ever happened once. The second biggest sin a game can perform in my eyes, and this one does it in spades, is this is the obvious choice. I was looking at my board, I'm like, oh yeah, no, Jason's going to steal from me because there is simply no better option on the board right now. The entire time I'm sitting here playing Quartz and thinking I would rather just play Chupacabra. It's just as stupid, it's quicker, and the choices are as absurd and obvious, but that game is 10 minutes, whereas this one was 20 to 30. Meh. Like, do I hate it? No. Do I want to play it again? No. I would give this a 4 because the production is mostly there. The rules work if you are a person that likes bag pulling and you like multiple layers of luck because what did you roll? What did I pull out of the bag? Are these things useful together? I do like the concept that you can protect some of your earnings. But one of the other complaints that I have in board gaming is I don't like games that just say you have 9 turns for the game. That's it. Because so many times I feel like at the end of it, I didn't get to do enough or I didn't have fun with those turns or whatever. And I have been finding more and more games that have actually broken that rule for me recently where I look and I'm like, oof, 9 turns. Got to make this work. We just finished a long array of brass. And at the end of the day, in a 4-player game of brass, you have, 16 turns?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you know that going in. When I look at this, I know I'm getting 6 rolls. And I don't really care what happens on most of them. Cool. Like, the choices are obvious, and I don't have a lot of them. And I had 2 of my 6 turns that literally meant nothing because the way the scaling action system works. I don't like it. Is it the worst thing we've ever played? Certainly not.
No.
Yeah, we played Caesar and Courtier. I'm taking shots. That's fine. But this one is also not very much high on the list for me either. Big misses. You have giant minecarts that you get to have.
And you like it thematically because this is your copy. You picked this up.
I picked this one up over at PAX 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But normally, like, dwarves, while they're a turnoff for me, they are not for you.
They're not normally a turnoff for me. Like, I really enjoyed, like, Nidavellir. And dwarves, while they have a lot of the same like push your luck tropes and mining and whatnot, this one was at least light enough that sure, you could go ahead and reskin this as something else and it would still basically hit the same for me. But the big things that really are negative on my side is that the minecarts are big and chunky. They have an entire end of game scoring pad on them to be able to count your scores. The other side is mainly just graphic when you could actually go ahead and put a player aid on there without much of a problem.
Yeah.
The other side that I really don't like, and this is why it knocks it down so much for me, is the actions on your dice. You have 6 whole actions, one of which is a wild, which is great. However, when you have 5 actions that are completely different and the majority of them take 2 or more dice to be able to do something with, including having 2 wilds to be able to go ahead and make something happen, there were more than enough times for us to go ahead and see that we just couldn't do many actions on our turns. Mm-hmm. We had the basic mine a crystal. We rolled our dice. We kind of swore at it. We tried to use the rerolls a few times. I had 4 obsidian by the end of the game. Still ended up pulling up the W, but I had 3 reroll crystals because of those are the ones that I pulled, and those reroll tokens really didn't do much for me. I rolled Jack Squat, and essentially for all of those rolls and all that Yahtzee, maybe got to go ahead and do like 2 actions on a turn. Normally it was anywhere from 1 to 3 in the range. 3 is super rare. Mm-hmm. I think it was 1 to 2, and that was about it.
I never got a reroll token. The only time I got the obsidian was when you guys gave them to me.
We gave them to you, yeah.
And I think all of your guys' rerolls were kind of like, wah, wah. Like, I think only one of you got a decent amount, and you guys had a bunch of obsidian.
It sucks when, especially in a game where you need multiple icons to do something, which is a neat idea, and I'm trying to remember what other game that I played relatively recently. It's been a minute. I can't find it in all my plays here on BG Stats, but this idea of you need X amount before you can do something, I actually do like as a gameplay system.
Yeah.
Just not in a game where there's 6 possible actions and you have 5 dice, and it's so easy to end up with nothing. Literally, my first round, I walked out with nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which meant that if we had scored right there, I was at -5 points because I was at the fewest and I had nothing in my chest at that point. So not only did I have nothing, I had negative.
You had the obsidian.
No, because I gave it away.
That's right, you gave it to me.
I literally had nothing.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, that is a big bummer. And I think at least twice when we rolled all of our 5 die, at least Mark and I, we rolled a different face for each die. Mm-hmm. And it didn't get much better with our second or third rolls for that round.
No, it did not.
So that's a miss. The other factor that we took a look at as well is the color impaired. Anybody that has any kind of like visual issues are going to go ahead and have a hard time. There are 3 of those that are easily in there that if you have any kind of color visual issues, you're going to have a hard time trying to figure out which one's which that could have been an easy solve just by making them other colors. But that's the 3 biggest problems I think I had with the game.
We like Lucky Duck. They're good folks over there. We have plenty of their games that we very much enjoy. Mm-hmm. This one's just a miss.
Yeah.
And I entirely understand why you brought it over for why did I play that, because, I mean, it's just a shotgun barrel pointed at me, and it somehow managed to catch all of us, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I even knew that it was going to hit me in the face, too, after I started reading all of the rules and everything for it.
But you did win.
I did, oddly. I had the most amount of obsidian, which gave me -12 points.
Yep.
I had the least amount in my treasure chest, which gave me another -5 points. And that was the hard part to go ahead and read on here, too, because originally I thought it was just a weird 2. That is actually a 5. So I technically had -17 points total and ended up with having the most overall.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. The scoring arc of the game is very strange.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Why did we play that?
I don't know.
because we needed to, and we didn't play what we were intending to play in time with Mark. So with that, let's get back to our conversation with Mark. Table Shelf and Trade. This is one of our fun ones, and we have played quite a bit of stuff in the past few weeks to be able to talk about. So, Scott, what is your game you brought for Table Shelf and Trade?
I'm actually going to bring a game that I got to play yesterday because I was not expecting it to be something I was interested in, and it will be the capstone game,
Ride the Rails.
Ride the Rails. That was absolutely phenomenal. It's a very high table. It's almost my shelf. I love train games. I still love playing Ticket to Ride. There's nothing wrong with Ticket to Ride at all in my eyes. And Ride the Rails gives me everything that I want in a Ticket to Ride because it's like, oh, you could be, oh, haha, I did this thing so you can't. But I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. Of having stock at a company, and then that's the only thing you can buy. You can only get your rails out of, and then it's a limited resource, and
And when you take a share in the rail line itself, you're pulling one out of the group. So if everybody in a 5-player game pulls blue, that's 5 less blue trains that can go out.
yeah. And
It's-
the game that we played last night, 4 of us had pulled red.
I heard at one point as I walked by the table, you guys were like, okay, so everybody gets 20 points.
Yeah.
And like it's such a crazy statement for a game like that.
Yeah, and then it was like, everybody but you gets 18 points. And it was just like, holy cow. And it was just really neat little mechanism I was able to exploit for 3 rounds of what I did. And I was like, this is really, really cool. Austin still won. But
You're not salty.
I'm not salty. I honestly,
Scott
I
is
was
just
so
a pretzel.
I was just so happy that I saw the strategy because usually I don't. I was like, oh, I'm doing really, really. I didn't understand how I was doing well. I saw the strategy in the game, which is very rare for me, and was able to execute it so well. So yeah, that was so good.
Ride the Rails is on my shelf. I give it a strong shelf. It hovers between an 8 and a 9 for me right now because Austin and I were making this joke where it's kind of baby's first 18XX, where you have the rail development, you have the stock investment, that whole bit, but you don't have all the knives of 18XX. You don't have the length of an 18XX game. But what makes the Cube Rail, the Iron Rail series so good is each one of them just focuses on one specific part of that overall larger train game experience and really smooths it out. And so that idea of what Ride the Rails ultimately focuses on is that investment. The fact you don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
Like you want to share, you just take a share in red this turn. But that's what you do. So the first third of every round is I take this color, I take this color, I take this color. We are all now moved on. We have completed a third of the round already. It is so smooth, it's so fast, and it gives you really interesting decisions, and it's so much of it is player derived of where are we starting the rail lines at, which way are we going, and because the map is freeform, it doesn't have that limiting structure that you can via experience exploit and over maximize the way you could out of something like Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
And that, again, it has all these hallmarks of playing an 18XX game and an extremely approachable, fast, and it takes, 2 minutes to set? You throw the board out, you separate the trains, you put some markers out, and you're done.
I think one of my favorite things about that game was just how simplistic it looked.
But
Because
it's so striking.
it's
'cause
so
the little
striking
trains.
because it's these little thin trains, the little meeples, and the artwork is just so clean. It's very evocative of just such an older period of time of how they made that map. The mechanism was the flash of the game.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're like, oh, this artwork is so amazing, and it makes you engaged. Or, oh, there's this really cool thing, and da-da. You just start playing, and you're like, I get it.
I threw you into that game because it was a train game.
Yeah.
And I was going to play, and then I ended up getting pulled into other games. But I was like, Scott is probably going to hate me for making me play this.
No, phenomenal game. Phenomenal game.
Good. J. Son.
Yeah,
J. Dodson.
that works. I've got some spicy thoughts for today. I normally try to go on the medium to positive side for a lot of the games I bring for this one. I think
Unless it's Caesar.
Yeah, that's the only one that I have absolutely tossed in the fire. Not figuratively, I want to throw that thing in a fireplace. But this one is slightly above that.
Okay.
It's something that I affectionately call Shared Misery, the board game. I'm really cooking it right now.
Here's the thing. I wonder, you have to have a different Share Misery, because I have a game I call Share Misery, the board game, and that's on tour, and I don't think this is on tour.
It's absolutely on tour.
Yeah!
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love On Tour.
We have so many people in this game group that love On Tour. They want to go ahead and throw it down as much as possible, have a bunch of fun with it, and I sit and groan every time. And they're like, why? Well, I have never seen a single gameplay have so many F-bombs dropped by the entire table. Because every time somebody rolls the die, everybody goes, F! Except for one person who gets a lucky streak and gets to go all the way around the U.S. and get all those points. But everybody else is sitting there like,
But it has that beautiful moment of you have somebody yelling, I just need like a 65. That'd be great. And then somebody else on the other side goes, anything but a 65. I can't take a 5 and a 6 again. Don't give me that.
Yeah, it just I've never been on the upside of that, and the reason why it's an easy trade for me is because 90% of the table is normally like, brr, and there's one person that's just like, I'm sitting pretty. And
that's why I love that game.
so, yes, On Tour is absolutely on my trade side for this because I would just say, no thank you, I will play so many other games.
No thanks, it's a
instead of
different
that.
game.
For all the reasons that he hates that game, that's the reason why I love that game. It is a total shelf.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's absolute misery. Yeah, it's just like, oh my god, why? And I'll play the digital version too, and I'll be like, oh my god, the digital dice are worse. Okay, cool, let's keep going.
I mean,
I love it.
It is a hard shelf for me. I have many, many nostalgic reasons that I like it. Darian showed it to me. It was the first roll and write I ever played that I liked, and we ended up playing 2 or 3 roll and writes yesterday. But for me, it is the only infinitely scaling roll and write game of its kind that I enjoy, because you do have, for it being as multiplayer solitaire as it ostensibly is, of you roll the dice, everybody does it, great. You have such visceral reactions from all the players that you feel like you are involved in everybody's game. And it was something that when the pandemic hit, like, I shipped my player boards to other people. We had people print the boards out, and we played it over Zoom constantly. Like, that was our game night, was playing On Tour together. And I don't know that I've ever played, like you said, one of those infinitely scaling roll and writes like that feels as interactive, as social, as good. I love it. It's a hard shelf for me. I am really sad that you don't like it.
I know I'm the minority.
It's okay. No. I have your back.
Thank you.
Well, I would play On Tour. However, I will say the one time I have played it, it kind of bounced off of me. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. You know, if I never play it again, I'll be okay. But yeah, I'm in your camp.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
feel seen.
I think it's just the same way for you. I think it's the experience. It's just that whole thing of everyone laughing, going, "Why did you roll an 89? I don't need 89."
Because, and then when you see that one person that has pulled off, like, they did get the lucky streak, like, they put stuff in the right places, and you're like, I got like 27 points, but you got 46. How did you do that? Like, it feels,
Yeah.
it just feels.
It's just funny.
But
Oh, see, I just feel sad that I'm dumb.
Yep.
I get that.
all right, Mark, what you got?
I will do a table, and I will pick a game that we played last night, which is Ready, Set, Bet.
Okay.
I knew that it came out, years ago, and it came out to great acclaim. I had a really good time. The only reason why it would be a table and not a shelf is because, well, actually I have 2 reasons now. First of all, because the price of that amazing copy you have is probably far out of my reach.
At this point, I know it was ludicrously low on the Kickstarter,
Right.
and then everything hit, and it has to be more.
Yeah. So if I was going to have it again, let's go back to that collector mentality. That would be the edition I would want. And I could spend the money, but I probably wouldn't spend the money. And so if I couldn't have that, then c'est la vie. I'll just enjoy someone else's copy. But the real reason is because I will never have that many people around a table to cultivate the experience that you created for us last night.
Oh, thank you very much.
That was great. That was great. And I know there's a way to, put it up on the screen and have it run electronically and things like that. And I don't have the knowledge to make that happen. That is a skill that I'm not learning. I don't look to gain. And so it's just a barrier to entry for me. Both of those things are sort of a parallel barrier to entry. But yeah, that was awesome. It was a ton of fun. I've played a fair number of other racing games, which are also typically not my genre, but I enjoyed the heck out of that. So I'll look forward to hopefully an invitation next year and another
Absolutely.
Ready, Set, Bet experience.
I really enjoy Ready, Set, Bet. And it doesn't come out very often. For exactly what you said, if I'm going to play it, I want everybody at the table. Like, I want to max that player count out, because I have never actually played it. I have only been the race caller, which I love, because you're sitting there and as the race caller, and I want to be better at coming up with the way that I call it. And I think if I played it more, I'd have the ability to do that. But there is this wonderful joy of when you're doing this and your head's down and you're just rolling dice and yelling numbers, and then you look up and everybody is staring at you and there's just a sea of poker chips, and it's it's like,
Yeah.
how did that happen? When did that happen? It's just such a great experience, and you end up having people just get wild, and like you kind of need to stage the table a little bit of short arms go in the middle, longer arms go on the end, all that. And you taught me that from the first play, because you just prop betted the whole time, and you benefited well in that first play.
did.
But we made sure that we kind of structured it a little better. I don't know that I would ever want to play it on the smaller version, because you saw the race board that I was doing. It's the size of basically a standard like TCG playmat. And the actual, like the regular version is like an 8 by 11 piece of paper. It's so small. The horses are so tiny.
Oh, that's...
And it just,
Yeah.
it would be miserable.
That game, just the table presence, indicative of that experience.
The betting playmat is 3 feet long.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's amazing.
So for me, it is a shelf. I think it has some weaknesses, certainly. And the VIP cards and all that stuff, they're, take or leave, because there's a lot of stuff that you have to track, a lot of things going on. I end up giving it an 8 because it is just an enjoyable experience. But it's like Captain Sonar in that I'm going to want 7 or 8 people around my table. I want that many people playing.
Right.
I mean, if you're having a Kentucky Derby party, that is exactly the game.
Oh my
you should
God,
break out.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, that would be fun to do. Like, have everybody come in and have the girls all the big hats and...
Well, we were planning on trying to do that
Yeah.
this past year, and then my 2-year-old had all of his sickness issues, so that all got canceled. So
Well,
makes
next
sense.
time, if we want to go ahead and have it on a screen, we could definitely make it happen where we throw up a camera and then throw it up on your TV up here.
Yep.
So people can actually see the 4K version of what's down here happening right up
Right.
there.
Well, my understanding is that there's an app
There is
that
an
will
app.
run the horses for you so that you could actually play.
yeah, but I don't want that.
Fair enough.
And there technically actually is a set of components in there so that the race caller can also be betting. And
Interesting.
I don't know how anybody would have
You have
the
to be
mental
so active
grip
for that.
to do that and keep the game flowing. Because
Yeah.
if it's like, all right, 7 moves. All right, now I'm going to bid. All right, now 6. And now I'm like, the joy of that game is the frantic pacing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it feels very much like being at the
Yeah.
Derby.
So,
That's a super high table for me because both times
Oh,
that it's
yeah.
been down here, I haven't even played. I just watched it and it was a ball.
When I heard you guys were like, "Hey, let's finish race at Bet," and because that's when I went to
because we
my
had to
other
stop
bet,
and get
and
food
I went,
in the middle of
I
it.
went, I missed that game. That's what was screaming in my head. I was just like,
It's just a joyous game.
it's a great game.
So my first one that I am bringing is one that I think I've mentioned that I've talked about it a lot. We played it twice on this weekend. That's how much I like the game.
Wow.
It's funny, when we were talking with Thunderworks last year, like we just hit a couple of the games that I wasn't a fan. I didn't like Fliptoons. I didn't really care for Citizens of the Spark. I don't like Cartographers. Man, do I just not like Thunderworks? And then I looked at my shelves. I'm like, oh no. I do really like them because I have Tenpenny Park sitting there. I've got Metro Runners sitting there. Like, I will happily play Role Player or the drop of a hat. I like their stuff. I just have a couple of them that didn't hit. And then I played Stone Spine Architects. And Stone Spine, it's in the world of Ulos, so it's in that same Cartographers Role Player universe, which, because of my experiences within it, could go either way. And it's about building a dungeon, which my experience there, you're looking at Dungeon Keeper and Boss Monster and those types of games, which I've never particularly cared for. And then I sat down with Stone Spine, and I am obsessed with it. It is so stinking good because it has that same idea of what Ride the Rails does of here's a drafting game in very simple terms of what you're looking for. The teach is 4 minutes long, and you are going to play just this really smooth draft, buy. Draft, buy. 4 rounds of that, you're done. It's like a half-hour game.
You also forgot about the intermittent cursing when I passed stuff, and you're like, I don't need any of these. Yeah,
It's so interesting because it takes more table space than I want the game to, but if those cards were smaller, it would be
work.
unplayable. So the production hits exactly what it needs to do. The art all flows perfectly for what's being done. You can look at a card and just intuitively know there are 4 spots for stuff on this card.
Yep.
I didn't even have to explain that to... Did you play with us the first game?
Yes.
And you looked and you're like, okay, so I can put something here, right? I'm like, yes, you can. Like, the game is just intuitive in a way that other ones like that of, we're going to send people through a dungeon, it just clicks. I think it is just a stunning package. There's certainly a couple little issues I have with it here and there, but on the whole, like, this is a strong shelf for me. This is one of those high 8s bleeding into a 9s because you tell me we're going to play it, okay, I'll pull it out right now. We'll play it right now.
Right. I agree. Yeah, that Thunderworks game is probably one of my favorites, and it will be on my shelf at some point. I'll probably wait to pick it up at Gen Con this year because, yeah, I have so much Thunderworks games, and the fact that I didn't pick that one up, I'm like, darn it.
Yeah, I mean, because the box cover isn't like, ooh, the way the other Thunderworks box covers are.
You don't really know what you're going to get yourself into.
Yeah, the art, like, everything in it works, but it's hard to sit there and be like, this is really thematic. It is, but it weirdly kind of doesn't feel like it.
Right.
I don't know. It's strange. Sorry, you were going to say something.
No, you're good. I was of the people that really like Citizens of the Spark, and I enjoyed Fliptoons. I've enjoyed quite a bit from Thunderworks. This was actually almost a second one for me for my either high trade to low table in mine, mainly because I could go ahead and easily play stuff like Middle Ages or Timber Town and have the same enjoyment, but a lot better, in my opinion.
Sure.
To be able to go ahead and have that kind of, like, not exactly drafting, but kind of a drafting set.
I would say both of those games are drafting games.
But
they just do table drafting instead of hand drafting.
I think that's the thing that really gets it for me, and that's what shot it down for me. With table drafting, you see what's there, you see what the potential is to get, so you can kind of plan for different variables. With the hand drafting, for a lot of this, it's something that falls off for me, because there's stuff that you will never see until the last round, and that can make it or break it for you.
Sure.
And that's what hurts. Some of the small things that I had, like seeing the kobolds and the goblins and stuff, was a little bit difficult to tell what was what on the tokens themselves. And while we did talk about having them color-coded on the tokens, they weren't color-coded on the player aids.
Sure,
which
that's fair.
Also was kind of a misstep for me there. But overall, it was just one of those that I have other games, as I said, like Timber Town, or when we played Middle Ages, that I really enjoyed both of those, and this one just kind of fell off for me.
Stone Spine completely replaces Timber Town. I didn't hate Timber Town. This one, completely replaces.
Timber Town is a great game.
Yes.
The problem that Timber Town has is 2025 was an absurd year for two-player games.
Yes.
Yep.
And it is really good in a field where excellent is a stone throw.
Yep.
I have not played Stone Spine. I have not played Timber Town. They sound intriguing.
So, Scott, back around to you.
Yeah. Doing another high shelf. This is probably one of the, for me, Off With Their Heads is such a beautiful...
Are you doing this?
I
am. Was about to do this.
Good. Is probably one of the best blank and writes I've seen. And the fact that you're doing it with playing cards and you're playing poker and there's the whole high-low, mid stuff, and it's Manny Tremblay art, which, of course, we know I'm going to love Manny Tremblay art.
It's in the Wonderlands War iteration of Alice.
And it's just like, how do you sit there and go, okay, we're going to play a game where we're going to just play high-low. And you're going to hope, depending on where you want to play, because you've got the 3 zones. You've got the Mushroom Forest, which is in the top. You have the Labyrinth, which is in the bottom. And in the center, Jabberwocky's Forest. And so you're sitting there going, okay, hearts are high. I've got a 10. I've got 10 in hearts. It doesn't go with anything else in my hand, so I'm okay with to play this because, of course, you're playing so many cards and you're going to store 2 of them for your poker hand, which is at the very end of the game, which is crazy, but I love it. And cool, 10 of hearts. I should be high. Cool, I'm going to hit that Mushroom Forest. How in the world am I now in the mid? Or, okay, cool, I want to be in the bottom. I want to be in that hedge maze. I'm going to play the 2 clubs. Why'd you just play Tweedledum? Now you're the lowest, because Tweedledee is the highest of all the cards. Tweedledum is the lowest of all the cards. It's like, how I'm now in the mid. Okay, cool. Now I have to figure out how I'm going to make this work, because each of those mechanisms are different. So you're, Mushroom Forest, you're trying to make sure that you're doing stuff in order, but you have to match the colors of your mushrooms. Same with the forest. You don't want to have any of the same number be next to each other while you're still matching the color of the cards. And then there's that coming at 2 different sides of the labyrinth. It's ingenious. And we got the chance to play with James at Gen Con before he left to go home.
I did some of the actual play testing online before.
That's
so
great.
I've seen a few iterations, and I think where it landed, the readability works very well for the game.
And when it became available, I was like, take my money. Very rarely does a game sit there and make me go, yes.
It really helps that the playing cards themselves are so high quality, because it is going to take you back to, yes, you can use any cards you want, but the Manny Tremblay art, how just good those cards feel. They're not flimsy at all for a relatively inexpensive package.
No,
what's
it's
in there.
very nice.
They're just really, really nice cards, and that helps pull you into it. So we don't tell each other what we're going to review at the start because we like to surprise people and bring it up. You just mentioned this, and I was frustrated because I was going to use this in this segment, so I have hot swapped it with something else.
Yeah.
But the game is very good. I like it at each of the player counts well enough, but I want 4 people.
I do want 4 people.
Because this game, spoiler alert, kicked Tidal Blade's Banner Festival out of my collection because it uses that same mechanism of the high-low that you were talking about. But I think for more people, it is an approachable theme and it is less things to teach and it just makes more sense. I still
table
love
space.
Banner Festival. I will play
yeah.
it, drop
yeah.
of a hat.
Hey, I happily took it from you.
Yeah.
It's at my house now.
Yeah.
And like the amount of table space it needs.
And that's the other thing that helps.
It's and right. So you have a pad of paper. You're handing people pencils and paper, and you're playing with playing cards. Phenomenal.
So what is your score on?
Oh, that's a 9.
Nice.
It is very much shelf. That will not leave my... If they're like, hey, we have a replacement pack. Cool. I'm just going to do a replacement pack because that will probably go with me to... Yeah, it'll go with me to Gen Con. It'll go with me to PAX. When I go hang out with my friends down in Fort Wayne, if I go down to Florida to visit my buddy, oh yeah, it's going with me.
For me, it is an 8 because those player count things, I want more people in it because when you have below 4, you are going to step in with a fake card, like a fake player, so they will fight you for high, mid, low. But in a 3-player game, you have 1 card face up. In a 2-player game, you have 1 face up, 1 face down. So you will always have all 4. I would rather just play with more people if I can. And I felt the exact same way with Banner Festival as well. The only other thing that kind of holds my score back a little bit is an issue I had in Banner Festival. I keep critiquing Banner Festival. I legitimately love that game. It's a really wonderful game that I also give an 8. Because you can sit there and with the cards, with as nice as they are, especially like, okay, I'm in the high. Great, I got this. And this was like, no, Mark, you messed up. Like, this is not a spade, this is a club. Like, oh, I am in the mid. Didn't want to be there. And so that just immediate readability of I am the high or oops, I missed some other card. Like, it can just take that little bit of moment, especially with more people at the table, of where actually am I? That it puts a little bit of clutchiness in the experience, but I mean, it's kind of a nitpicky thing to say because the game is so fun and there is really great mitigation of I'm in the high, I need to be the low. I'll just use my teacup. Okay. You never feel stuck with your result, which is good.
I love that flexibility.
I haven't gotten to play it.
Nor I.
Okay.
So my next one is also Pivot because I was going to use Stone Spine Architects. So instead of having double spicy takes on our games, I'm going to go ahead and be very, very high in this next one. We've gotten to play 1 session of it so far in a 4-player game. It is a beautiful marriage between Van Ryder and Lucky Duck.
And we played it for like 4 hours. So this isn't like, we played it for 20 minutes. This is my one experience. No,
It's not like a when I say session, this is almost Vantage level of session that we got to play it in. Dark Quarter is cooking in my brain right now. I want to give it a 10, but I have not played enough yet to give it a 10. So
you're just calling it a shelf.
Tentatively a 9. It is an absolute shelf. Maria bought it within 30 minutes of us playing it down here, and I'm happy that she did. This game is gorgeous. I absolutely love how they have evolved from Lucky Duck doing Tariki and having that fun kid game. Now you're going and having final girl aspect of Van Ryder just getting poured into this, where they have a gorgeous marriage of being on table and on app, but the stories that are in this game just will drop your jaw as you start learning more. I'm not going to give anything away. I got to play the character Winter Mullins. I love the interconnectivity that you have with this. Every one of us had this like mouth open, like whoa moment in the first session of the game.
And for each of our characters individually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is something that it is, as soon as we finished that session, I wanted to play more.
I asked for a TV for Christmas. That TV is mounted because of Dark Quarter.
Yes!
And Mansions of Madness, but Dark Quarter more because just displaying all the text up there is great.
God, I want to play more.
Dark Quarter has this immediacy of its thematic narrative storytelling of, like, they say, oh man, Casket Girls are doing this thing. Like, we're the Casket Girls.
Yep.
You were just
Yeah.
in immediately. And yeah, we've all made our jokes, like, Johnny Robochocks, like, that came up because when we were sitting there reading the story and we realized, oh, this guy that we're interacting with would hate my character, so he's just gonna make fun of him. So as we're reading out, it's like, yeah, Johnny Robochucks, like, I know it's Roboshow, but I know, like, that it just feels in the world and you just want to tell the stories.
Yeah.
I've said it before, of the game is my preferred version of Vantage, because I feel like I'm interacting with the world and making changes in a world that ultimately Vantage you can come away from, and when you come back you can make that same choice. Are you going to have the opportunity? Probably not, but you could run the same route. And I don't feel like that is the case in Dark Quarter. Does it have a fail state? I don't actually think so. But I've played some of the Yesterday Demon stuff, and it's great. I've been playing the base game with you guys. It's great. The production is wonderful. The app works super well. It's just a phenomenal game. Like, it is a shelf for me. From everything I've seen so far, and I've played it more than you guys, I would also give it a 9. I think some of the language in the game is a little more than it needs to be at times. And you're going to have those people that are like, but you're telling me I can't fail. Like, I'm just going to make it through eventually.
No.
Yeah. But as theater people, as storytellers the way we all are, we're there for that. And the fact that the challenge system and the gameplay is as good as it is just a bonus.
Yep.
Well, I can add that to the list of games I haven't played, but I spent some time looking at pictures, and it looks impressive.
It's
very good.
Get in it.
All right, my turn, right?
Yep.
All right, so you guys have been talking about a bunch of big games. I'm going to talk about a tiny, tiny game that I would almost call a one-trick pony. It's called Tacta. Have you guys heard of it?
Yep.
It's right there.
So, okay. So, so I played Tacta almost a year ago, and I walked away from it kind of not knowing if it was a game. I mean, was it an activity? I mean, and there was scoring and everything like that, but I'm just thinking, did I like that? I really couldn't tell. But every so often, it would jump back into my mind, and I'm thinking, man, I really want to play that again. I really want to play that again. Well, fast forward to Gamma Expo, which was about 10 days ago, and the designer walks up and he's talking about his credentials, and I said, oh, you're the designer of that game? That was so much fun. He says, you want a copy? I said, I would love a copy. So it's actually a perfect game for me right now, because one of the feathers in my cap is I've turned all 3 of my oldest children, my biological children, into gamers, and now I'm slowly working on my stepchildren. But I have thoroughly turned the youngest into a gamer. The others are not enthusiasts at this point. But when I got Tacta, I knew I could bring it home, and I knew I could play it with her. And she just ate it up. And there is something about that game on the table that the Tron-like presentation of the colors, it's almost hypnotic. It is really, really strange in the best way, and it's just so incredibly satisfying to look at. And the graphic design / manufacturing is top-notch in the fact that there is no drift. The cards all fit exactly how they're supposed to, and I'm betting that was precarious, that if they did not snug up perfectly, it's fragile in that way that I think it would destroy the experience. But it does. Agreed. And it's great. Again, it's a one-trick pony. I haven't played it enough to say if I'll continue to want to play it, but right now, the whole thing is just so satisfying.
We have played it with a variety of player counts, and what I have found is I like it better at lower, because I went out and there's a 2-player like promo pack that you can put in, and so you can play the game set. Don't. I don't know how I feel about the game, which is why I actually haven't reviewed it yet, because I think I'm somewhere in the table range. It takes an enormous amount of table space.
It does.
And there are moments that feel like cool plays, and there are moments that are like, I'm just going to dots and boxes this, I'm going to set this up, and Scott immediately took my spot and wiped out my points. It looks beautiful. You're right. When you line all the cards up, and you know that you've made a legal play, the lines on the art do not break. And I didn't even think of it on a production level of how, precarious is a good word there, of just like how tense it had to be, because one of those cards is off. It really does throw the entire shift out of balance. Where my issue with the game lies is that it can feel very slow, and the scoring is miserable.
That's true. Yeah. I totally get what you're saying.
Absolutely.
And in a high count player game, it would be
too many of the colors look way
similar.
too much the same. There are like 3 or 4 shades of blue. And I wish they had picked stronger colors, but for what it is, that trick is very impressive. It's one of those you can take it home to non-gamers and be like, look how cool this is. Because it just does look very cool. So I'm of a really mixed mind on it right now, but I've also played it a lot. So that says something.
It's a 4 for me. It's a trade. I like it. I like what it's trying to do. It's a little finicky. That scoring process is horrendous.
It's better with 3 and 4.
You need 3 or 4, but then still, it's still a lot to count. You know, it's the color issues. I want to like it. You're absolutely right. It looks great on the table. It looks really neat. The pops of color. It's just not enough gameplay. And also the whole thing of, cool, I got this thing set up. Bam. Scott took it.
Well, and that's what I think it is. Like, being mean that way is inherent to the game.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it is.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to do it because you're going to get the points and you're going to sweep them away from somebody else.
Yep.
It's part and parcel of the experience.
There's also that bit of luck because you're drawing from
Top or bottom.
top or bottom, and so that you're very much at control of what happens to be on the top or bottom. And it's just like, yeah, I get it. It's kind of cool. It's a neat mechanism. Everything that are positives about the game are very much good positives. Just not enough.
And, you know, like I said, I haven't played it as much as I plan to, so
Right.
it is a one-trick pony. So I might get tired of that pony and
Right.
put him out to pasture.
I haven't gotten the chance to play yet.
So my game that I am hot swapping in is one that Big Head Dave brought. It was an Essen release. I'm not sure when he Essened it, but it was in German, so I know he got it at Essen. It is a game called 1%, a game of strategic chance. The goal of the game is to roll a 100-sided die and just get 2 zeros. That's it. But it is performed across this liar's dice with cards kind of bidding system. And basically what's going to happen is there are 5 suits of cards. The numbers on each card range from 1 to 5, and there are 2 copies, I think, of each card, something like that. And each person is going to be dealt 3 cards at the top of the round. Then it's going to be the liar's dice bidding of, I think there are 3 stars amongst all of us. The next player can either raise the bid number or they can raise the number and change the suit. But you can't say 3 stars, no, it's 3 comets. You have to change one or both, but you must always be going up. When you say, I don't think that there are 13 comets out there, whoever made the bid is on one side. Whoever canceled and said, no, it's not, becomes the other side. All the other players then vote which player they are on the side of. So Mark can sit here and say, like, no, there are not 13 stars. And I'll say, no, I think there are. Then everybody will put their cards down and reveal. If there are 13 stars or more, whoever said yes is still in the round. Whoever's out gets booted from the round. Then you redeal 3 cards to anybody that's left in the round, and you do that process again. You still have the cards that were removed, and you know the maximum number of any suit is 30, so if we had 18 of the stars come out, and I say there's 13, by definition there are not. Once you have whittled down and 1 player is left, they win that round and they get 3 rewards. The rewards are either roll the dice or take a card. So if I take 2 cards and I roll the dice, those are my 3 rewards. Because the goal of the game, like I said, is roll 2 zeros. You need to roll the 100. That's your 1% chance. The numbers, when you draw them, though, and you put them in front of you, so say that I take a 6 and a 4, now, so long as my numbers on my dice are a combination of 0s, 6s, and 4s, that lets me win. So the more you win a round, the more likely it is for you to win. And there are some other special cards of I can draw 2, or I can steal, or I can do whatever. At its heart, it is just a deep push your luck game. And guys, I hate it.
I was waiting for that.
It's very long because it's like Flux in that way of I rolled and there are my zeros. I got the 1% chance on the jump. I won, game over.
Done.
Or it can last a half hour, 45 minutes, because Big Head in his game had 5 different number cards in front of him, so he was able to hit on 60% of the roll, and he rolled 3 times and did not win.
Yikes.
I don't like it. It's a game. It functions. Everything holds together. The graphic design is good. I like Liar's Dice as a mechanism, but I don't like all the extra chrome attached to it. And I'm saying rules chrome, not production. It's like a 3. Like, I would play it again, I guess, but part of me says you need a lot of players because you want all that, like, yeah, no, there totally are. If there's 30 stars possible, that's most likely going to happen in a higher player count game. You can get the bids up to 13, 18, 20. If I have 5 people at the table, I'm not picking this. yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Admittedly, it's well known I don't like Push Your Luck, but I mean, I sat there and I was holding 2 5s of something. I'm like, there's at least 13 out there. I was the only person that had that in suit. So I got knocked out of the round because even though I was holding 10 of them, nobody else had one. It's Push Your Luck. That's the card shuffle and draw. But blah.
Yeah, if you already have stuff like Liar's Dice, or like even I've got a card game that Liars and Landmines, which is kind of like a better version of BS. If you already have stuff like that, you're dressing up a pig.
We'd like to say thank you to Secret Door Games over at 215 South Main Street in Elkhart, Indiana. Since opening their doors in 2015, they've been dedicated to creating a friendly and inviting space for board game enthusiasts in downtown Elkhart. Their knowledgeable staff is there to help you find new ways to have fun with an extensive selection of board games, card games, miniature games, role-playing games, and more. Whether you're a seasoned gamer or new to the hobby, you're invited to come in, explore, and share in the joy of gaming with them. Open 6 days a week starting at noon, closed only on Mondays, you can make sure that you have a great time supporting your FLGS and getting to find Board All the Time recommendations while you're at it. You can also find them on their website, www.secretdoorgames.org, which will be in the episode notes. Thanks again to Secret Door Games for supporting the podcast. Next up, we would like to say thank you to our longtime friends and new sponsors of the show, Meeple Source. They've been supporting us all the way back to 2019, and we love getting to support them back. Meeple Source is a one-stop shop for all of your board game upgrade needs, stocking realistic resources, custom pieces for specific games, game trays, metal coins, playmats, promos, and all sorts of other accessories. You'll be able to make your games look utterly glorious. They also stock bundles of everything you'll need to upgrade each piece of some of your favorite games like Wingspan, Agricola, or Brass, and frankly, more than I could possibly list here. They also stock Geek Up bits if you're looking for the bags and acrylic tiles for all those titles as well. So be sure to go to meeplesource.com/partner equals BATTG to let them know that we sent you their way and to make sure to support both Meeple Source and Board All the Time. The specific link for that is in the episode notes below, so go check it out and thank you once more to Meeple Source. Our final sponsor of the show are our friends from Victory Roll Cafe. A long time ago, a group of friends had a vision to create a space to combine all their passions into one singular dream. This is the culmination of those things. They brought together excellent food, specialty coffee, and hobby board gaming into one space that is entirely family friendly as well. With a dedicated kids zone stocked with games for them and a custom dungeon for those adults who wish to game in a more thematic setting, you can find a wonderful experience every time you visit. You can find their current menu and the listing of their over 800 board games available to play on their website, victoryrollcafe.com, and you can visit them Thursday through Monday, opening at noon at 711 West McKinley Highway in Mishawaka, Indiana. Thanks again to Victory Roll for sponsoring us. Look, at this point, we know you've been listening to a lot of ad reels, so we appreciate you sticking around. If you'd like to get a hold of Marc, Scott, Jason, or any of the theater geeks in relation to Board All the Time, you can do so by emailing us at boardallthetimegaming@gmail.com. If you just want to talk about an episode, or you want to give us a topic of the week, or you just want to say, hey, you guys are idiots, what is with your opinion? Reach out to us. Let us know. We're in the process of relaunching our Discord server, so keep an eye out for that. But you can find all of our episodes, as well as some of our bonus video content that we're starting to upload on youtube.com. We are at Board All the Time. You can also visit us at boardallthetime.com. And while we're still figuring out our social media presence, we are still available to be found on Blue Sky and Facebook. Finally, we would like to remind you that you can catch Scott, Jason, and the rest of the regular cast of Theater Geeks every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, playing tabletop RPGs, board games, and all other kinds of nonsense. So make sure to check them out at twitch.tv/theatergeeks. And now, get out of my ad spots.
So, is there anything you would like to let people know about what's coming up, what's happening with Grand Gamers Guild?
Oh, let's see. I'll be at all the major conventions. I'll be at Geekway, which is a not-so-major convention, but that's okay. Geekway, Origins, Gen Con, UK Games Expo for the first time in
Nice.
many
nice.
years. Yeah, Essen, Gen Con, and PAX Unplugged. Those are all the majors, and maybe perhaps some minors.
You'll see us definitely all at Gen Con. You'll see him and I probably at PAX.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
December PAX is just, I'm out.
Yeah,
The kids don't let
I
me
understand. Believe me, I love PAX. Among the conventions I go to, it is the one that treats exhibitors the best, big or small.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite a nice experience. All things considered, I could do with Essen being the end of my convention year. So anyway, look for us at those conventions. Come see the bazaar.
Yeah.
And shop
The
till
Bazaar
you,
Bazaar.
Shop till you drop. Other than that, everything is available on the website. Tirna Nog, I still have deluxe copies of that. Kokeshi is available and will ship if you want to acquire a copy from me as opposed to your friendly local game store, although it will be there too. And yeah, I guess my Gen Con release, Under the Leaves, is coming. It's in production right now. So keep an eye out for announcements on that.
We missed that yesterday.
yeah, I knew.
And if you have anything you want to talk to me about directly, you're pretty much almost unconditionally talking to me. So send me an email, grandgamersguild@gmail.com.
Nice.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Great having you on. It was nice to actually have some time where we weren't like, we're at a convention. Hi, gotta go.
Yeah, those quick hits.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
busy.
We had started talking, we had been getting games and doing reviews for you, and I walked up to you at Gen Con. You're like, I'm sorry, who are you?
Yeah, I'm terrible like that. It's like a deer in the headlights, and, well, I will never forget what you look like anymore. You're indelibly etched on my brain now.
You're welcome.
I hope that's good.
I was like, that's either a compliment or a threat. I don't
I'm taking it.
take it as a compliment because we need
yeah.
all the feel goods.
So again, thank you so much for joining us. This
Yes,
was
thank you
really
so
an absolute
much.
pleasure.
Yeah, super cool.
And with that, guys, get out of my house. We need to go to Victory
We gotta go
Roll.
to Victory Roll. Gotta play some more games.
There's a lot of things that benefit us to be just an audio because we do silly, stupid things.
Yep.
I know.
Just
I'm
a
in the bat
farty
cave
dog.
seeing it.
You are.
God, this
Smelling
dog just
This dog is
ripped.
ripping
Oh,
butt.
okay.